called the sprinter van. He like, hey, put that up, you don't need that around here. Yeah, but, man, I fuck with Sage. Hey.
The NBA, one of the most controversial and significant individuals in contemporary hip-hop, is YoungBoy, whose real name is Contrell Dezian Golden. YoungBoy is well known for his raw, heartfelt songs and tumultuous personal life. In addition to his music, his contentious court disputes and public character have drawn millions of fans. His ascent to stardom has been anything but typical, and he has faced several legal issues along the way in addition to amazing achievements. NBA YoungBoy was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and had a difficult childhood. From an early age, he was exposed to violence and suffering as he grew up in one of Baton Rouge's most violent districts. He started utilizing rap as a kind of therapy and a means of expressing the pain, difficulties, and emotions he encountered on a daily basis, and this difficult atmosphere would later influence his music and career. His early years were characterized by unstable finances, an unstable family structure, and the ongoing fear of violence in his neighborhood. Notwithstanding these obstacles, NBA YoungBoy's musical prowess was evident. As a youngster, he began recording music and immediately became well known for his honest, unvarnished lyrics. His mixtapes, including Before I Go and Life Before Fame, started making the rounds in the underground rap community. YoungBoy quickly became a viral phenomenon as his distinct voice and style struck a chord with listeners, particularly those from light backgrounds. When his mixtape 38 Baby was released in 2016, it was his breakout moment and he became well known. Hits like What's Your Name and Untouchable, which demonstrated his narrative skills and solidified his place as one of the most promising young performers in the business, were included on the mixtape. NBA YoungBoy's career took off after 38 Baby. AI YoungBoy 2017 and Until Death Call My Name 2018 are two of his well-received albums that cemented his position in the popular rap landscape. He had transcended from being a Baton Rouge local rapper to a national superstar. He developed a devoted following because of his ability to combine unadulterated passion with realistic street style, and his music videos often received millions of views on YouTube. But popularity also came with more scrutiny, and NBA YoungBoy's personal life would soon get as much media attention as his music. NBA YoungBoy's many run-ins with the authorities have been a major feature in his life. YoungBoy was involved in legal issues from a young age, and they appeared to follow him throughout his professional life. He was arrested on suspicion of attempted first-degree murder in 2016 during the height of his early popularity, although he was eventually freed on bail. With several arrests and accusations pertaining to violent situations, drug possession, and probation breaches, his legal troubles would only worsen in the next years. NBA YoungBoy was always fighting the court system and his own inner issues, and these legal troubles sometimes overshadowed his songs. NBA YoungBoy's involvement in a federal prescription drug ring controversy was one of the most strange and startling periods in his life. NBA YoungBoy was accused of orchestrating a fraudulent scheme to get prescription drugs while he was on house arrest. Given the rapper's position and the legal scrutiny he was already under, the specifics of this plan were both shocking and confusing. NBA YoungBoy apparently pretended to be an old lady in order to get these drugs, which further contributed to the case's weird aspect. By providing evidence that demonstrated YoungBoy's role in planning the illicit ring, the case's prosecutors were able to reveal the finer points of the operation in court. The rapper seemed almost bewildered when the entire extent of his acts was disclosed in court, despite the high degree of his engagement. As it became evident that his legal issues were far from resolved, he responded to the disclosures with a combination of amazement and incredulity. NBA ultimately found guilty of his role in the prescription drug conspiracy. YoungBoy's sentence marked a major turning point in his career. The sentencing served as a reminder of YoungBoy's vulnerable situation and included extra time on house arrest and probation. Despite his enormous success in the music business, his image and career were continuously being damaged by his behavior outside of the studio. For someone like NBA YoungBoy, who has always been transparent about the difficulties he experiences in his personal life, the controversy was a sobering reminder of the demands that come with celebrity. His path to fame was never straightforward, and it seems that his struggles, both personal and legal, are far from ended. NBA YoungBoy still has a significant impact on the rap world, nonetheless, in spite of the failures. Even as he traverses the convoluted and sometimes challenging path of celebrity and legal troubles, his devoted fan following continues to support him because of his ability to use music as a vehicle for his challenges, the difficulties of being a young artist in the contemporary music business are reflected in many ways throughout NBA YoungBoy's career. Although his personal background often acts as a warning, his unvarnished, unadulterated approach to his music connects to a generation that feels misunderstood and excluded. Due to his extraordinary skill, legal issues, and turbulent personal life, NBA YoungBoy is now one of the most talked about hip-hop stars. It will be interesting to see whether he can move beyond his prior setbacks and succeed in the music business, but one thing is for sure, his journey is far from done. When the rapper was arrested in April 2024 in connection with the prescription medication fraud operation in Utah, his legal troubles took a sharp turn. This case has captured the attention of according to court filings, the public is aware of a sophisticated identity fraud and forgery plan that entailed phoning in prescriptions under a false patient name and birth date and posing as a legitimate doctor. After the young child and his pals filled the prescriptions, which were mostly for promethazine with codeine, they were known to have obtained a number of prescription drugs, including promethazine with codeine, a significantly misused cough suppressant. The little child's purported imitation of a doctor, which finally sparked concerns, brought attention to the scheme's audacity. He was charged with 2 counts of third-degree felony identity fraud, 2 counts of third-degree felony forgery, and 6 other significant offenses. After this crucial error resulted in more investigation and his final arrest. Counts of misdemeanor illegal pharmacy behavior were not the first time the young child had run afoul of the law. His legal issues began when he was a teenager, and he had previously been arrested for a number of felonies, including assault and weapons charges. Despite these obstacles, the young artist has maintained a devoted following that is attracted to his honest and unvarnished depictions of reality in his songs. The prescription drug ring case, however, marks a major uptick in his legal troubles due to the participation with numerous federal and state jurisdictions. Highlight the intricacy and gravity of the charges. As the case progressed, it became evident that the young boy was facing a potentially pivotal moment in his life and career. The defendant is ultimately criminally liable, especially under Utah Code 762202, for a large-scale prescription drug fraud scheme in which it was known that the boy had obtained a number of prescription medications. The NBA youngster was caught in a complex prescription medicine fraud scam that exposed a network of. According to court documents, the operation started with a suspect calling a pharmacy pretending to be a legitimate doctor using a fraudulent patient name. The scheme involved posing as medical professionals to call in prescriptions for promethazine with codeine, a potent cough syrup frequently used recreationally for its sedative effects. The scheme was a sophisticated method of illegally obtaining prescription drugs that spanned multiple jurisdictions. Birthday, they would ask for a prescription for promethazine with codeine, which the pharmacy would fill without realizing the scam. When the prescriptions were ready, the young boy and his associates, whom the affidavit names as known associates 1 and 2, picked them up. Mr. Jeden had participated in this illegal activity with others, especially when 2 co-defendants were trying to pick up the drugs because they had recently had their cases resolved before this court. Authorities started to suspect foul play once the bogus prescription was discovered. A crucial point in the investigation occurred when a pharmacy reported a suspicious prescription for promethazine with codeine under the name Gwendolyn Cox. This prompted a more thorough investigation into the activities surrounding the prescription, which resulted in the detention of 2 women who were thought to be YoungBoy's associates when they tried to pick up the medication. Gwendolyn Cox then called the police in an attempt to confirm the situation. After that, someone called law enforcement posing as an elderly woman to whom the fraudulent prescription belonged. The prescription was for a Gwendolyn Cox, but the elderly woman, who was obviously posing as an elderly woman, claimed to be Gwendolyn White and was unable to provide her birth year. The officer who answered the call noticed a number of irregularities, including the caller's refusal to provide an address or birth year and, more tellingly, the use of a distinctly fake voice. The career of NBA YoungBoy exemplifies the difficulties of being a young musician in the contemporary music business in many respects. His unvarnished, yet his personal life also acts as a warning. NBA YoungBoy is one of the most talked about hip-hop artists of our time due to his extraordinary skill, legal issues, and turbulent personal life. One thing is certain, his tale is far from over, but it remains to be seen whether he can move beyond his previous setbacks and succeed in the music business going forward. In April 2024, the rapper's legal troubles took a sharp turn when he was arrested in Utah in relation to a prescription medication fraud scheme. This case has captured court filings that reveal a sophisticated identity fraud and forgery plan that entailed phoning in prescriptions under a false patient name and birth date and posing as a legitimate doctor. The little kid and his friends then filled and picked up the prescriptions, which were mostly for promethazine with codeine. Have obtained a variety of prescription drugs, including the highly misused cough suppressant promethazine with codeine. A little child was accused of impersonating a doctor, which exposed the scheme's audacity and finally sparked suspicions. This oversight turned out to be a crucial error that prompted more inquiry and ultimately led to his arrest. He was charged with 2 third-degree felony identity frauds, 2 third-degree felony forgeries, and 6 other significant offenses. Counts of misdemeanor illegal pharmacy behavior were not the first time the young kid had run afoul of the law. His adolescent years were marked by a string of arrests for a variety of crimes, including allegations of assault and weapons possession. The prescription drug ring case, however, marks a major escalation in the young boy's legal troubles, since he has managed to retain a devoted fan following attracted to his honest and unvarnished depiction of reality in his songs. As the case developed, it became evident that the young boy was facing a potentially pivotal moment in his life and career. The defendant is ultimately criminally responsible, especially under Utah Code 762202, for a large-scale prescription drug fraud scheme in which it was known that the boy had obtained a number of prescription medications. The number of federal and state jurisdictions highlights the complexity and gravity of the charges. The complex prescription medication fraud operation that caught the NBA youngster exposed a network of the operation involved a complex scheme to obtain prescription drugs illegally by taking advantage of weaknesses in the healthcare system. According to court documents, the scheme started when a suspect called a pharmacy pretending to be a legitimate doctor using a fake patient name. The scheme involved calling in prescriptions for promethazine with codeine, a potent cough syrup that is frequently used recreationally for its sedative effects. Birth date. They would ask for a prescription for promethazine with codeine, which the pharmacy would fill without realizing the scam. When the prescriptions were ready, the young boy and his associates, the two co-defendants mentioned in the affidavit as known associates 1 and 2, picked them up. Mr. Jeden had participated in this criminal activity with others, especially when 2 of them had recently had their cases settled in this court. Authorities started to suspect foul play when they discovered the phony prescription. 2 women who were thought to be young boy's associates were detained when they tried to pick up the medication after a pharmacy reported a suspicious prescription for promethazine with codeine under the name Gwendolyn Cox. This was a crucial point in the investigation when Gwendolyn Cox called the police to try to confirm the situation and get clarification. After that, a caller posing as an elderly woman who owned the fraudulent prescription called law enforcement. The prescription was for a Gwendolyn Cox, but the elderly woman, who was obviously posing as an elderly woman, claimed to be Gwendolyn White and was unable to provide her birth year. The officer who answered the call noticed a number of irregularities, including the caller's refusal to provide an address or birth year and, more tellingly, the use of a distinctly fake voice. The law, his arrest history for a variety of crimes, including assault and weapons charges, stems from his adolescent years and contributes to the ongoing cycle of criminality among young guys. As a 15-year-old youngster, Kentrell Deshaun Jeden was arrested for robbery in his hometown of Baton Rouge, Louisiana in 2015, a turning point that signaled the beginning of his complicated relationship with the law. This early run-in with the law was not merely a run-in with the law, but a trigger that would unexpectedly influence his future. A major uptick in NBA YoungBoy's legal issues occurred in November 2016 when he was arrested in Austin, Texas, while getting ready to perform at a concert. The arrest was related to an incident in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where police accused him of taking part in a drive-by shooting and charged him with 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. The young boy was at a turning point in his life. Faced the prospect of a long jail term, considering the possible 40-year penalty he might have received under Texas state law. The little boy's plea agreement, which resulted in a 9-month prison sentence and 3 years of probation, was remarkably merciful despite the seriousness of the accusations. Young boy was able to resume his musical career after the plea agreement, but his legal troubles still had a significant impact on his personal life and creative production. As he managed the conditions of his probation, his career continued to gain momentum, but his legal issues were far from over. In May 2019, a young boy was involved in another violent incident outside the Trump International Beach Resort. This time, he was the target of a shooting that was connected to a feud with fellow rapper T. Grizzly. The incident injured his then-girlfriend Marie Long and resulted in the tragic death of a bystander, Muhammad Drat. Although the young boy was not charged with Drat's death, it was determined that the incident violated his probation and he was sentenced to 3 months in jail. This arrest occurred on the set of a video shoot in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, during a contraband sweep. The young boy and 16 other people were taken into custody on charges of felony possession of drugs and possession of a stolen firearm. At the scene, police found a cache of firearms, including an Alaska .47, along with drugs. Like a young boy was discovered in possession of $47,000 in cash, along with hydrocodone marijuana and Xanax, which raised concerns about the circumstances surrounding the arrest. Baton Rouge police claimed that the people in custody were connected to the Never Broken Again gang and Bottom Boy guerrillas, further escalating their investigation into the associations and activities of young boys. The arrest was a noteworthy incident that caught the attention of federal and local law enforcement. YoungBoy's James Manasse, the lawyer, quickly defended his client by saying that the little kid was innocent of the crimes he was charged with. He maintained that no firearms or controlled dangerous substances were discovered on the young boy's person or under his direct control, and that police had arrived on the scene after receiving a tip about the presence of guns, but purportedly without any proof of a crime. This court case highlighted the continuous conflict between the little boy's public persona and the legal difficulties he had as his team attempted to negotiate the intricacies of the judicial system. The public's reaction to the young boy's arrest was as divided as ever, with both supporters and detractors offering their opinions on the implications of his legal troubles. While some saw the incidents as a continuation of the young boy's pattern of reckless behavior, others saw them as a reflection of structural problems in the legal system. Behavior. In spite of the controversy, the young boy's music flourished, as seen by the financial success of his mixtape 38 Bab 2 and album Top, which cemented his place as a major player in the rap business. Business achievement. He was reportedly arrested by the FBI in Los Angeles on March 22, 2021, after an attempted traffic stop connected to an outstanding federal warrant. During the pursuit, the young man allegedly fled on foot, resulting in the involvement of a K-9 unit. The incident has generated a lot of media attention and conjecture, and authorities reportedly found a firearm in his car. The events leading up to the NBA YoungBoy's arrest captured the interest of both fans and the media, unfolding like a scene from a Hollywood thriller. Everything started on what appeared to be a typical day in Los Angeles when the LAPD tried to conduct a routine traffic stop. The LAPD had a federal warrant for the NBA player YoungBoy, who was stopped. This warrant was not merely a minor infraction, rather, it was a serious issue that attracted the attention of federal authorities as officers tried to pull over his. Rather than following the officer's instructions, the young man reportedly decided to flee, starting a high-speed car chase through the busy streets of Los Angeles. The chase was intense, with the young man navigating his vehicle through traffic in a desperate attempt to avoid capture, the LAPD wanting but also of cunning as the youngster tried to outsmart the officers at every turn. The chase caught the attention of onlookers and soon became a topic of discussion on social media platforms, with many people expressing disbelief at the drama that was developing. As the chase went on, it became clear that the youngster was not going to give up easily, but the LAPD was equally determined to bring him to justice. The case took a dramatic turn when the youngster realized that he could not outrun the law forever and chose to abandon his vehicle in a daring move. According to reports, he got out of the vehicle and fled on foot in the hopes of losing the authorities in the city's maze. This choice led the LAPD to dispatch a K-9 team, which highlighted how serious the situation was. The FBI's involvement added a federal dimension to the drama that was developing. After being informed of the situation, the FBI took over the booking and charging process after the young boy was apprehended. The K-9 unit, which is trained for situations like this, was tasked with finding the fugitive rapper. When the young boy was eventually found and taken into custody by the authorities, the pursuit came to an end. The arrest was the result of a series of events that had left the public anxious about how this high-profile chase would turn out. The relationship between the LAPD and the FBI highlighted the seriousness of the charges the young boy was facing and the degree of coordination needed to bring him into custody. Although it was still unknown, the finding of a handgun in the little boy's car brought another level of interest to the case. Whether or not the weapon was his, these are just a few instances of the rapper's ongoing run-ins with the law and the difficulties he had managing his career while dealing with legal issues. As this story develops, fans and onlookers are left to wonder what this new chapter in the young boy's life means for NBA YoungBoy's. There have been both successes and setbacks along the way, from Baton Rouge's streets to the pinnacles of the music business. Notwithstanding his accomplishment, his life has been filled with legal battles, the most recent of which was the prescription drug ring case in Utah that garnered national attention. As the case developed, the charges threatened to derail the young boy's promising career, but in a calculated legal move, the defense team was able to negotiate a plea deal that lowers the severity of the charges from felonies to misdemeanors, a significant development that allowed the young boy to avoid. Despite this victory, the rapper and his fans found that the little boy's legal troubles were far from over. The sentencing hearing for the NBA YoungBoy in the Utah fraud case was only one chapter in a larger legal story that included related charges in Weber County. These charges led to a sentence of 27 months in federal prison and 5 years of federal probation. These legal challenges combined to create a complex picture of a young artist struggling with the consequences of his actions. By highlighting the importance of overcoming addiction, the judge highlighted a path forward for the young boy that could lead to personal growth and redemption. Despite avoiding jail time in Utah, the young boy still faced a substantial sentence in federal prison for related charges. He was successful on federal probation and has a bright future where he can realize his full potential. However, the judge's remarks gave some optimism that the young boy's tale was far from finished. If he were released, he would be placed on federal probation for 5 years, giving him plenty of time to think back on his decisions and start a new life. Path for his life. The sad truth is that not even young boys believe in themselves as much as the judge does. A few months ago, when the young boy was still under house arrest in Salt Lake City pending trial for a federal gun charge in Louisiana, the rapper made the shocking admission that he saw more jail time in his future. Would the young boy follow the judge's advice and change his life, or would he fall into the traps that had previously plagued him? sent shockwaves through the music industry and his fan base when he opened up about his future in a January 2024 interview with the Bootleg Kev podcast. The young boy said, "I'm kind of set on going to jail right now, so I don't really think about it too much. I guess that's just my life. I don't let it bother me or anything like that. You make the bed you lay in." This revelation at the time was not only a reflection of his mindset but also a testament to the legal battles that have plagued his during his career. The young man was under house arrest in Salt Lake City, where he had been waiting for trial on a federal firearms charge in Louisiana for more than 2 years when he made that comment. This case essentially materialized as a new federal charge when he was arrested in September 2020 after police found weapons in his hands during a Baton Rouge film shoot. He made this comment over 10 months before. The most recent in a string of legal troubles is this particular event, including prior arrests for assault and kidnapping that have followed him throughout his career. His acceptance of possible jail time highlights the seriousness of his circumstances and the difficulties he faces in breaking free from this cycle. In the past month, 2 well-known rappers have also been in court custody for different reasons: Young Thug and Lil Durk. For Young Thug, the YSL RICO case trial proceedings were nothing short of a legal marathon, drawing national attention as the longest trial in Georgia state history took place, and viewers were gripped from start to finish by its many dramatic turns. Prosecutors and defense lawyers fought over Young Thug's and his co-defendants' fates in the courtroom, which turned into a battleground. On October 31, 2024, Young Thug made a crucial decision that would change the outcome of the trial. He entered a guilty plea. This move sent shockwaves through the courtroom and beyond the sentencing. After that, there came a really dramatic scene. In a shocking turn of events, Fulton County Judge Paige Reed Whitaker commuted Young Thug's sentence of 40 years with 5 years to serve to time served, resulting in 15 years of probation and additional 20 years. Despite the fact that Young Thug had a somewhat happy ending, Lil Durk is facing a life sentence since he was mentioned in a high-profile murder in a more complex case that has captured viewers' attention. The lawsuit, which is being heard nationwide in the Central District of California, alleges that Lil Durk planned to kill fellow rapper Quan Rondo in retaliation for King Von's untimely death in 2020. Rappers and criminal activity come together here, whether it's involvement in a drug ring like Young Kid, a murder case for a higher case like Lil Dr, or a RICO case like Young Thug. The majority of these rappers originate from impoverished backgrounds and use crime as a way to survive or to elevate themselves in their communities, which has resulted in an endless cycle of freedom and incarceration with little chance of breaking free. For the time being, we can only speculate about the young boy's future. Will he ultimately pay the price for his life of persistent crime, or will he finally break free? If you like this video, please check out our other fantastic videos on the channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.